Welcome to the show. Hope you've had wonderful holidays, guys, but I'm telling you, it's not looking good for Mike Johnson. He has lost the Republicans' trust right before we're about to have in the next week an election for the speaker, and he's lost the trust of the Republicans. But not only that, he's also, and this is not just from politics, leading reports that Speaker Johnson has reportedly lost the trust of the House Republicans ahead of the speaker vote due to his handling of the spending bill. Guys, this is big news. Not only that, I've got video to show you that Trump is not happy with Mike Johnson big time. And the reason being is because of the spending bill, of how it was handled behind the scenes. They only brought Trump in. Now that we know all this extra evidence, they only brought Trump in at the last moment for negotiations. So now that there's threats to remove Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House, everybody is asking what is going to happen next, who's going to be the Speaker. But now there's threats coming from Mike Johnson's side and from Democrats' side, saying that if they do not keep Mike Johnson as Speaker of the House, listen up, they're going to delay the certification of the 2024 election. So that if they delay that, then Trump might not be president January 20th. This is big news, guys. What I'm about to show you. So there's a lot of weight on Mike Johnson of keeping him because the Democrats like him. There's also a lot of weight of the Republicans not liking Mike Johnson at this point either. And Trump is caught in the middle because he's so upset that Mike Johnson did not get him what he wanted when it came to the spending bill. So we got a lot of data to show you that, but Trump said he wants a true MAGA person in the speaker position. On top of that, The Hill, which is a very reputable, usually non-biased news outlet, had an opinion piece that came out advocating for the 14th Amendment to be used against Trump to stop him from taking office as well. So guys, we knew it. We called it. We're seeing multiple things right now where a lot of people do not want Trump to take office, and they're threatening of delaying the certification of the election. Now they're saying they want to use the 14th Amendment. We have the video from where the Democrats said last year that they're going to use the 14th Amendment to try to stop Trump from being president. You can't make this stuff up, guys. I'm going to plaster that up. I got to get like something that shows on the screen because it is getting really real. But besides that, Trump's big play with Canada is getting really big. He has posted again another incentive to Canada to become the 51st state of the United States of America in terms of tax savings, business growth, and military protection. I would not be surprised, guys, as crazy as it is to say, that Canada could actually be in play. On top of this, RFK is planning on day one to ban drug advertisements from cable TV. Now remember, with cable, 75% of their revenue from CNN, MSNBC, ABC, all these big mainstream medias come from the pharmaceutical companies. 75%. If RK does this, then they would literally cripple the cable TV news networks, and they would have to reimagine how they make money with ads on TV. So a ton of breaking news to show you today, guys. They do not want Trump as Trump as president. They've got multiple ways that they're going to try to attack him to keep him from being president. And we got all this to show you in just a moment. Want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. Guys, if you're not subscribed, why not? Hit that subscribe button so I can serve you every day with the top news. And if you don't mind, click the thumbs up like button. It really does help the channel so much. And thank you so much to all of our members of the channel. I love seeing the green in the chat. We got the best chat on YouTube. If you want to be a member, the link is in the description to join. And thank you so much to everybody that gives a super chat donation. We are so grateful for your support in helping us to bring a positive change in this world with our monthly donations to charity. Love you all so much for your support. Guys, let's jump right into this. This is getting real of replacing Mike Johnson, but at the same time, too, them trying to keep Trump from being president. Check this out.
House Speaker Mike Johnson are warning any effort to remove him as Speaker could delay the certification of the 2024 election. Lawmakers will hold a speakership vote January 3rd. That is next Friday. And they will vote to certify the election on January 6th. If a speaker is not elected by that date, lawmakers are not going to be sworn in, and they cannot certify the election. It took about 3 weeks for Republicans to replace former Speaker Kevin McCarthy last year. But remember, that was the first time that McCarthy held his spot. He survived 14. He lost 14 votes and got through on the 15th. It could be a tough group. Let's bring in one of the group right now, Texas Congressman Pat Fallon. He is urging President-elect Trump to reaffirm his support for Johnson, telling Fox News Digital Trump's endorsement would be incredibly powerful. Politico also reporting Trump isn't happy with Speaker Johnson despite avoiding a government shutdown last week. The incoming administration is questioning whether Johnson is capable of managing the Republicans' razor-thin majority. Trump also felt, quote, blindsided by the first continuing resolution deal that Johnson struck with the Democrats. Now, lawmakers telling Maria whether or not Johnson should be removed. Watch.
I think that we need to stay the course. I mean, we had chaos when Kevin McCarthy was taken out, and Mike Johnson was somebody that all the different factions could support, and I don't see it being any different right now.
Rather than getting rid of the debt ceiling, you get a speaker with a spine who puts forward a spending plan that actually encourages conservatives like myself and some members of the Freedom Caucus to join on.
Are you saying you'll support Mike Johnson?
I think it's good to mix it up and let them know we are not happy with the job they're doing.
We need to back President Trump, and if President Trump is going to back Johnson, I'm sure that he will be the speaker.
I know there have been a number of members who have expressed interest in continuing the conversation about Speaker Johnson and where we go from here, but I think he's been working very hard to try to accommodate the needs of the individual House members and the priorities of the incoming administration.
Joining me now is Georgia Congressman Buddy Carter. He is a member of the House Budget, Energy, and Commerce Committees, and he's going to be sharing a couple of things coming up. All right, Congressman, good morning and great to see you. We're going to get to your new assignment in just a second. But first, let's talk about this fight over Speaker Johnson. Now, you know, his allies are saying that all that Donald Trump needs to do is to invite him to Mar-a-Lago, have a conversation, take a picture, put his support out there for Johnson, and then we can get the election certified by the deadline.
Well, I would agree, and I fully support Mike Johnson, and I think if President Trump does endorse him, that he will be the next speaker, and he deserves to be. He's done as good a job as anyone could have done with the cards that have been dealt to him. I don't see anyone else who could possibly do any better than what Mike Johnson has done. The last thing we need right now is another situation like we had 2 years ago with Kevin McCarthy. Let's hope that we don't do that.
And that's what I mentioned in the introduction to you, that he had 14 failures. He hung on to his spot after the 15th vote. Mike Johnson turned that around. But look, this is about the first 100 days, Congressman. And the concern here, if we do have some more chaos in the House, and we've already seen that with the CR last week, is that you're going to have a delay of that 100-day agenda. And it's important for Donald Trump to get in there day one and begin to make things happen.
Guys, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I really want to make this point because this is super important. Yes, Matt Gaetz is actually, somebody put in the chat, being thrown out for being the speaker, which is crazy. But remember, last time it took 3 weeks to certify a speaker. So the House votes on January 3rd. 3 weeks is January 24th. So that means that if they don't have a speaker and they don't swear in and they don't certify the elections, this could delay Trump actually getting into office. This is how real that it's getting, guys. But Trump doesn't want Mike Johnson as speaker anymore.
Absolutely. You're a very astute observation. The first 100 days are going to be very, very important to Donald Trump's administration, to this upcoming administration. And we all understand that. And the last thing we need is a speaker's race or controversy there. We all need to be together concentrating on promoting the agenda that this president has. Remember, Americans voted overwhelmingly to put him in the office and to change things. And he's got to do that. And he's got to have our support to do it.
Well, I want to talk about spending, staying with what we saw with the budget.
So, guys, right here, I want to show you, we've got a lot of evidence right now, and I want to jump into Mike Johnson has lost Republicans' trust right before January 3rd, 2025, which is the election for the vote for Speaker of the House. Multiple reports, Speaker Mike Johnson has reportedly lost the trust of the House Republicans ahead of the Speaker vote due to the handling of the spending bill. People don't trust him right now because whenever they came to the floor with that 1,500-page bill, they hadn't talked to any Republicans. It was literally Mike Johnson, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries, and Mitch McConnell. Those four people made the deals. We're basically going to screw over the American people, have a lot of government waste, give the politicians increases in wages, allow for more censorship, allow for more just government waste. And that's why all the Republicans are like, what did he even do? So not only are they trying to delay Trump from being president through this, because if we don't have the speaker, they can't certify the election, and they can't put him as, if they don't certify the election, he can't become president. They're also trying to use the 14th Amendment. So check this out. This is really gaining a lot of steam right now, where The Hill, a reputable news outlet, said that the use of the 14th Amendment needs to be done to bar Trump from being president. Right here. Congress has the power to block Trump from taking office, but lawmakers must act now. Guys, this came out this morning. This is huge news. And a lot of people are saying, well, what are they going to do? They're going to use the 14th Amendment. And they say, well, have they said that yet? Yes, they have. Watch this. I have the exact video where the congressman says, look, we have the way. We're not going to let Trump take office. Watch this.
What can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025, to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in civil war conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have not many cases to look at every year, not that much work to do, a huge staff, great protection, simply do not want to do their job and interpret what the great 14th Amendment means. And I'm glad that Sherilyn's creating her new center so we can bring that.
Guys, we called it. They are going to use everything that they can to try to keep Trump from being president. And this is real. This is like them throwing out the bait, letting everybody know, and now the fight is on. Now it's not just fighting the Democrats, but now it's fighting with Johnson, being replaced, the delayed of the certification of the election. Now a lot of congressmen are coming out and say, hey, Trump, you need to really back Mike Johnson, because if you don't, then he could delay the election, because then they'll go into a fight over who's going to be the speaker. And we're already about to have to fight the 14th Amendment because these Democrats are now pushing Congress to block Trump from being president. This is as crazy as it gets, everybody. I want to show you this other video because more Congress people are coming out over saying, look, what should we do? What should we do? There is a push to oust Mike Johnson as quickly as possible. Watch this.
Certification of the 2024 election. Lawmakers will hold a speakership vote January 3rd and will vote to certify the election on January 6th. If the speaker is not elected by that date, lawmakers cannot be sworn in and therefore cannot certify the election. Now remember, it took about 3 weeks for Republicans to replace former Speaker Kevin McCarthy last year with Johnson. Texas Congressman Pat Fallon is urging President-elect Trump to reaffirm his support for Johnson, telling Fox News Digital Trump's endorsement would be incredibly powerful. Politico is also reporting that Trump is unhappy with Speaker Johnson, questioning whether Johnson is capable of managing the Republicans' razor-thin majority. Trump also felt blindsided by the first continuing resolution deal that Johnson struck with the Democrats. Lawmakers telling Maria whether or not Johnson should be removed. Watch.
I think that we need to stay the course. I mean,
he's a rhino, guys.
We had chaos when Kevin McCarthy was taken out, and Mike Johnson was somebody that all the different factions could support. And I don't see it being any different right now.
Rather than getting rid of the debt ceiling, you get a speaker with a spine who puts forward a spending plan that actually encourages conservatives like myself and some members of the Freedom Caucus to join on.
Are you saying you'll support Mike Johnson?
I think it's good to mix it up and let them know we are not happy with the job they're doing.
We need to back President Trump. And if President Trump is going to back Johnson, I'm sure that he will be the speaker.
I know there have been a number of members who have expressed interest in continuing the conversation about Speaker Johnson and where we go from here. But I think he's been working very hard to try to accommodate the needs of the individual House members and the priorities of the incoming administration.
Joining me now is North Carolina Congressman Greg Murphy. He's a member of the House Veterans Affairs, Ways and Means, and Administration Committees, and he's also the co-chair of the GOP Doctors Caucus. Congressman, good morning to you. Do you support...
Good morning, Cheryl.
And Merry Christmas. Do you support Mike Johnson?
I do. You know, the Speaker of the House is the most difficult job, and especially with many different factions within the Republican Party. We call them the five families, with very, very differing, sometimes theological bents. Some are in Biden 10 districts. Others are in R35 districts. And walking that line as a Speaker of the House is extremely difficult. And we have some folks, Cheryl, truth be told, wake up in the morning and instead of saying, how can we get something done, they say, how can I obstruct and get on media? And that's extremely difficult. Mike has done, I believe, a very, very good job. Is it perfect? No, we're not going to get perfect. And some individuals literally just want to topple the House down for the sake of toppling the House down. He has done a very, very good job in trying to pull things together. And I think kicking him out and going through the same absolute chaos that Matt Gaetz started with McCarthy last session is absolutely wrong and does a horrible thing for President Trump's first 100 days. So let us stay the course. Let us actually have conversations. Let us actually do things and communicate, and let us not have people who go one off and then run off to the media to spout out their disliking of what the speaker is.
No, Matt Gaetz is no longer in Congress. Look, let's talk about.
Let me tell you this, guys. So there's a lot of Republicans. I think that the rhinos that are trying to come out in support of Speaker Mike Johnson, but a lot of people have reportedly lost the trust of the House Republicans. Mike Johnson showed his hand whenever he came out with that deal with the Democrats and didn't even speak to his own Republican colleagues about the bill. There was so much fat. There was government censorship in there. There was a lot of things that really were going to be harmful to the freedoms of Americans. And if it wasn't for Elon Musk, then we would be that bill would have been signed. We would have spent a lot more money. And it was only because it was somebody outside of Congress that stopped Mike Johnson from going forward with that bill. And so he has lost the Republicans' trust. This is something that is going to not only shake up the Republican Party, but also to help us get to a more firmer place when it comes to leadership of the MAGA Republic. Trump is not coming in to do what he did in 2016, 2017, and so on. He's coming in for a full overhaul. And not only that, I want to show you this next thing because this is getting as serious as it gets. So Leading Report also reports that Trump tells Canada if they were going to become the 51st state, their taxes would be cut by more than 60%, their businesses would immediately double in size, and they would be military protected like no other country anywhere in the world. So Trump is very serious about this. He made this funny post of him standing beside the Canadian flag, but now that we're seeing more reports of him coming out, there's a reason. He wants to cut a lot of this spending is so that they can have enough money to be able to go through and make these changes when it comes to essentially purchasing and acquiring Canada, as well as the Greenland and the Panama Canal. Listen to them talk about this next step in the Doge to get the funds needed to help jump in and make the changes so that we can acquire these new countries. Check this out.
Not the U.S., $20 million on a new Sesame Street show in Iraq, $10,000 to support a climate change-focused ice skating show that, by the way, featured drag queens. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul's annual Festivus report showed over $1 trillion in needless government spending he says can be axed immediately. Some of the more egregious spending includes $12 million spent by the Interior Department on a pickleball court in Las Vegas, $2 million Health and Human Services grant to study kids looking at Facebook ads about food, $3 million for the Department of State to spend on girl-centered climate action. Oh, that was spending was in Brazil, Congressman. You know, and Rand Paul also, by the way, he did say on Fox and Friends, he said, look, he believes the Doge can help limit and draw attention to spending. But he said to Fox and Friends, quote, the responsibility lies on Congress.
Well, it does, and that's why we have the Doge Caucus, because remember, Vivek and Elon, they're great businessmen, obviously very successful, obviously very smart, and we need them. We need them to identify the waste, fraud, and abuse, but it's going to have to be us in Congress who take it one step further and who change it, because we are the ones with the authority. They're not really going to have any authority. Yes, they can point out problems to us, point out where the waste, fraud, and abuse is and where we need to tighten up.
Let me tell you this, I 100% disagree with Earl Buddy Carter, this Republican congressman from Georgia. He said that they don't have any authority or power. Was it not Elon Musk who literally was posting on X whenever the CR bill came out and saying all this wastefulness, and what happened? They dropped the bill. They started changing it up. Elon Musk and Vivek have a lot of power when it comes to the openness and transparency of revealing these corrupt politicians' dealings, and that is what their power is, bringing light to the American people. So they can say all they want that they don't have power when they do, because they know that if they don't toe the line, bring transparency, when it comes primary time, they're going to lose their position in Congress.
But we in Congress are going to be the ones who have to follow through on that.
All right, let's talk about your new role in the new Congress, 119th Congress, which is incoming. You were selected to chair the Energy and Commerce Subcommittee on Health. House Energy and Commerce Committee Chair-elect Brett Guthrie did appoint you to that role. He says this, quote, Congressman Carter's lifelong work as a community pharmacist has given him the unique understanding of the challenges facing our healthcare system and the work Congress needs to undertake to lower healthcare costs. Congressman, talk to us about the work that you plan to do, and what is the first thing that you want to address?
Well, the first thing we're going to address is to increase transparency in healthcare and to incentivize competition. That's what we need to do. Obviously, we came very close to having PBM reform in this last CR. It was part of the initial package. It got pulled. That'll be one of the first things that we do. We've got to get prescription drug prices under control. We've also got to address the egregious legislation that was part of the IRA that has decreased research and development and resulted in 22 drugs being pulled from the market and 40 drugs being pulled out of research and development. We can't afford that. We've got to have cures. We've got to make sure that we're putting patients before profits and that Americans will be able to live healthier and longer lives.
Ashley Davis is on set with me. She's got a question for you.
Oh, I was just saying to hi, how are you, Congressman?
Good, good.
Nice to see you. I was saying to Cheryl before we started that I bet your number one thing would be PBM reform, but I was also going to ask you about 340B. What do you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. 340B is a program that has evolved into something that was never intended to be. And what we need is transparency. You know, that program was intended for federally qualified health centers and for rural hospitals, but it has evolved into something much more than that. And look, we get it. We understand that there are needs in these hospitals, but we're never going to be able to address healthcare costs unless we have transparency, unless we can see where the problem is. And that's where the 340B program is being used by these larger healthcare centers to cover up those problems that we have. We need to identify those concerns, and that's the way that we can address them.
Congressman, we're really...
Guys, let me tell you this. The amount of reform and change that's coming to America is insane. Right here, leading report shows that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. plans to ban drug advertisements on TV per New York Times. The drug advertisements on TV account for 75% of the revenue that cable TV like MSNBC, CNN, ABC, all of them have. So whenever you think about the amount of shockwaves that are about to be sent, not only through Congress, through America, through cable TV, Trump wants disruptors. And yet, right now, there are some Republicans that are urging President-elect Donald Trump to reaffirm his support for Speaker Mike Johnson. And he's saying no. He's like, it just because Mike Johnson showed his hand, sided with the Democrats, gave them everything that they wanted, we are now seeing that when he brought in Elon Musk, Vivek, they're coming to disrupt everything. Rand Paul, I really like Rand Paul, who's already shown us $1 trillion in wasteful spending, that he wants more people like that are willing to go against the status quo, willing to show that the politicians have been corrupt. They've been corrupt for a long time, and we need to overhaul our entire system. Listen to this, more government waste that the average American people has no idea about. Check this out.
About spending after this bruising CR fight that we just wrapped up on December 20th, and talk about where the cuts need to be. You know, Rand Paul says there's $1 trillion that you can cut. Listen to Rand Paul and where he says that DOGE can help and maybe where it can't. Watch.
Ultimately, it takes Congress. Congress has to get rid of the spending. DOGE can point out the spending problems and the waste the same way I've been pointing it out, but the reason it's not eliminated is they don't have the votes to get rid of the spending. About a year ago, there was a CHIPS bill, a bill to subsidize microchips, semiconductors in the United States. Well, in that bill, they doubled the size of the National Science Foundation. Now, the National Science Foundation is the one that's famous for doing a study on whether tequila or gin makes people more aggressive. So they fed fish, half of them tequila and the other half of the fish gin, and they decided which made the fish more aggressive. All the Democrats and half the Republicans voted to double the size of the National Science Foundation. So why is there more waste? Because the idiots in Congress keep giving them more money.
Congressman, your reaction to that?
You know, I'm not sure which tequila or gin is really best for the fish. But you know, what Rand Paul points out is some of the asinine funding things. The same thing with DEI funding at NIH. I believe it was $180 million to fund DEI initiatives within a science foundation. He's absolutely true. There are so many things that we have a target-rich environment. Medicare Advantage, for example, is bilking the government from hundreds of billions of dollars by upcoding and so many other things.
That's a big number.
There's target-rich environments. But also remember, Cheryl, we have entitlement spending. We have Medicare. We have Social Security, things that are sacrosanct, that are really our major drivers of where our debt is. And so where reform is needed, it is needed. And so you can't, Rome was not built in a day. You can't change all of this overnight. We got rid of a lot of things. I voted for that CR because I live in North Carolina. Western North Carolina has been devastated, apocalyptic. Because of the hurricane, and I was not going to not vote against them. The same thing is with our farmers. Our farmers are literally on lifeline. And guess what? Food doesn't come from the grocery store. It comes from the farmer's field. And so we have to make priorities. And yeah, again, things are not done immediately. Let us get into the session. Let us start working with President Trump on his initiatives. Let us go through the appropriations bills. We could only get 5 out of 12 done in Congress last time because we had some individuals, because nothing's perfect for them, that were going to vote against anything. Let us get back in the process. Don't start the entire session with chaos again. Let us start it with orderly rule, and let us rule. We have 2 years really to put in President Trump's agenda. Let us do this and not fight amongst ourselves the entire time.
I want to ask you about immigration as well, Congressman.
Guys, let me tell you this. What we're about to see here in the next 3 weeks is going to be the toughest fight, I think, that we've seen yet between the Republicans, the rhinos, the Democrats. The Hill posted this: Congress has the power to block Trump from taking office, but lawmakers must act now. Guys, this is this is an opinion piece, but still, when you look at the Hill is advocating use of the 14th Amendment to bar Trump, this is where the will of the people, there's a mandate. Trump not only won the electoral vote, he won all 7 swing states, he won the popular vote, but now we are facing politicians who don't want Trump in office because he will reveal their corruptness and he will reveal everything that they've been doing. You just saw it, $1 trillion of government waste in 1 year. 1 year, $1 trillion of taxpayer money has been wasted on the dumbest things ever. We pay for drag queen shows in other countries. We pay for the security of border walls in Paraguay. We paid for $20 million for a Sesame Street type show in Iraq. All these things are corrupt, but it all feeds the politicians, the lobbyists, and that's what Trump wants to reveal. And that's why the Hill is advocating use of the 14th Amendment to bar Trump. And if you don't know what the 14th Amendment is, it states that if there has been any type of insurrection or treasonous act by an elected official, they are not allowed to run or hold office again in the future. So with that, they're saying that because of January 6th, Trump is not allowed to run and be president again. And they said this from the very beginning. I want to play this video clip for you one more time, but this is the exact wordings that they said that they are going to do. They said this last year. Come these next few weeks, we're going to see this take action.
What can be put into the Constitution can slip away from you very quickly. And the greatest example going on right now before our very eyes is Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, which they're just disappearing with a magic wand, as if it doesn't exist, even though it could not be clearer what it's stating. And so, they want to kick it to Congress. So it's going to be up to us on January 6, 2025, to tell the rampaging Trump mobs that he's disqualified. And then we need bodyguards for everybody in civil war conditions, all because the 9 justices, not all of them, but these justices who have...
So you see, guys, they've already stated what they're going to do. They already stated who they're going to fight, who they're going to put it against, and what they're going to use to try to keep Trump out of office. And at the same time, too, there's the fight of Trump replacing Mike Johnson, and the speakership for the House is on January 3rd, 2025. So if they delay it, last time it took almost 3 weeks to find another speaker because of the votes. If it takes that long again, Trump will not be certified on January 20th. It will be later. And so again, there's lots of things that are trying to keep Trump from taking office. We're going to be here to report. And just want to say thank you to everybody that's watching. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. I'm going to bring you the top news every single day, Monday through Friday, 2 shows a day, one on Saturday, one on Sunday, to make sure that you're informed. And if you don't mind, if you haven't hit the thumbs up like button, please do so. It really does help to grow the channel. And just want to say thank you to all of our members of the channel. If you want to join the True Life News fam, the link is in the description to join. And guys, we couldn't do this without you. Your support means everything to us. We are here to serve you, and we're here to make sure that you have the top news every single day. We love you, appreciate your support, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.